Good morning. My name is Jerry, and you're watching Sanctified Supply Co. YouTube channel where we read Bible. We show you some of our behind the scenes of our t-shirt business, and hopefully this is a time that's edifying for you. We're picking up in part 2 of the book of Exodus. We've been reading through the Bible. We started with all the smallest books of the Bible, and we're working our way up to the largest books, which right now we're in Exodus. We've got about, I think we've got about 5 books left. I don't have my list in front of me. But if you're joining for the first time, thanks for being here. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And so we'll go ahead and open up in a word of prayer. I'll let some people jump in here. JS Genesis, good morning. Hope you're doing well. We're just getting ready to start reading back in chapter 7 of Exodus. We'll go ahead and pray and we'll get started. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time. Pray that you would just open up your word to us and make it alive for us this morning. We know that it is the living word. I just pray that this time would be edifying. I pray that we would just give you glory with the time that we spend on here. Help us to understand your word and show us what you'd have us to take away from this passage this morning. And pray that you bless the people in the chat and help me to read so that they can understand. In the name of Yeshua, amen. All right, chapter 7 in Exodus. I think I said Genesis, but it is in fact Exodus. So Yahweh said to Moshe, "See, I have made you an Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother is your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall speak to Pharaoh, to let the children of Israel go out of his land. But I am going to harden the heart of Pharaoh, and shall increase my signs and my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim." That's Egypt. "Now Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, and I shall lay my hand on Egypt, and bring my divisions and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Mitzrayim by great judgment. And the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yahweh when I stretch out my hand on Mitzrayim, and I shall bring the children of Israel out from among them." And Moshe and Aaron did as Yahweh commanded them, so they did. Now Moshe was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old, when they spoke to Pharaoh. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe to Aaron, saying, "When Pharaoh speaks to you, saying, 'Show a miracle for yourselves,' then you shall say to Aaron, 'Take your rod and throw it before Pharaoh, and let it become a serpent.' So Moshe and Aaron went in to Pharaoh, and they did so, as Yahweh commanded. And Aaron threw his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. But Pharaoh also called the wise men and the practicers of witchcraft, and they, the magicians of Mitzrayim, also did so with their magic. And they, each one, threw down his rod, and they became serpents. But the rod of Aaron swallowed up their rods. And Pharaoh's heart was strengthened, and he did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said to Moshe, 'The heart of Pharaoh is hard. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning, as he goes out to the river, and you shall stand by the river's bank to meet him, and take in your hand the rod which was turned into a serpent. And you shall say to him, Yahweh the Elohim of Hebrews has sent me to you, saying, Let my people go, so that they serve me in the wilderness. But see, until now you have not listened. Thus said Yahweh, by this you know that I am Yahweh. See, I am striking the waters which are in the river with the rod that is in my hand, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish in the river shall die, and the river shall stink, and the Mitzrites shall find it impossible to drink the water of the river. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, say to Aaron, take your rod and stretch out your hand over the waters of Mitzrayim, over their streams, over their rivers, over their ponds, and over all their pools of water, that they become blood. And there shall be blood in all the land of Mitzrayim, both in wooden and in stone containers. And Moshe and Aaron did so, as Yahweh commanded. And he lifted up the rod and struck the waters that were in the river, in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servants. And all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And the fish that were in the river died, and the river stank, and the Mitzrites were unable to drink the water of the river. And the blood was in all the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians of Mitzrayim did the same with their magic. And the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened, and he did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, and his heart was not moved by this either. And all the Mitzrites dug all around the river for water to drink, for they were unable to drink the water of the river. And 7 days were completed after Yahweh had struck the river. Sorry, having a hard time breathing through my nose today. Good morning, Palmetto. Oh, good timing, JS. I'm glad it worked out. All right, chapter 8, Exodus. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, go to Pharaoh and say to him, thus said Yahweh, let my people go, so that they serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, see, I am smiting all your borders with frogs, and the river shall swarm with frogs, which shall go up and shall come into your house, and into your bedroom, and on your bed, and into your houses of your servants, and on your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading bowls, and the frog shall come up on you, and on your people, and on all your servants. And Yahweh said to Moshe, say to Aharon, stretch out your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up on the land of Mitzrayim. So Aharon stretched out his hand over the waters of Mitzrayim, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians did so with their magic, and brought up frogs on the land of Mitzrayim. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aharon and Aaron, and said, pray to Yahweh to take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I shall let the people go to slaughter to Yahweh. And Moshe said to Pharaoh, explain yourself to me. When am I to pray for you and for your servants and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you and your house, and remain only in the river? So he said, tomorrow. And he said, let it be according to your word, so that you know that there is no one like Yahweh our Elohim. Let me pause right there for just a sec. My cat is meowing and I need to let him out. This is Battle Cat. He's got to go outside. All right, verse 11. And the frog shall turn aside from you and from your house. So I'll back up to where he said, okay, Pharaoh said tomorrow, and he said, let it be according to your words, so that you know that there is no one like Yahweh our Elohim. And the frog shall turn aside from you, and from your houses, and from your servants, and from your people. They shall remain in the river only. And Moshe and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moshe cried out to Yahweh concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And Yahweh did according to the word of Moshe. And the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the fields. And they gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. And when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Say to Aaron, Stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the land, so that it becomes gnats in all the land of Mitzrayim. And they did so. And Aaron stretched out his hand with the rod and struck the dust of the earth, and it became gnats on man and beast. All the dust of the land became gnats in all the land of Mitzrayim. And the magicians did similarly with their magic to bring forth gnats, but they were unable. And there were gnats on man and beast. The magicians then said to Pharaoh, This is the finger of Elohim. But the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened, and he did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Rise early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh as he comes out to the water, and say to him, Thus said Yahweh, Let my people go, so that they serve me. Or else, if you do not let my people go, see, I am sending swarms of flies on you, and your servants, and on your people, and into your houses. And the houses of the Mitzrites shall be filled with swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand. And in that day I shall separate the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, so that you know that I am Yahweh in the midst of the land. And I shall put a ransom between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign shall be. And Yahweh did so, and thick swarms of flies came into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Mitzrayim. And the land was ruined because of the swarms of flies. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aaron, and said, Go slaughter to your Elohim in the land. And Moshe said, It is not right to do so, for we would be slaughtering the abomination of the Mitzrites to Yahweh, our Elohim. See, the Egyptians worshipped calves. And so, if they were to slaughter a bull to Yahweh, they would be committing a crime, essentially, in the land of Egypt. See if we slaughter the abomination of the Mitzrites before their eyes, would they not stone us? Excuse me. Verse 27. Let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, then we shall slaughter to Yahweh our Elohim as he commanded us. And Pharaoh said, I am letting you go. Then you shall slaughter to Yahweh your Elohim in the wilderness, only do not go very far away. Pray for me. And Moshe said, See, when I leave you, I shall pray to Yahweh, and tomorrow the swarms of flies shall depart from Pharaoh, from his servants and from his people. But do not let Pharaoh again deceive me, to not let the people go to slaughter to Yahweh. And Moshe went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh, and Yahweh did according to the word of Moshe, and removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from the servants and from his people. Not one remained. But Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time too, and did not let the people go. Chapter 9. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Go in to Pharaoh and speak to him. Thus said Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, Let my people go so that they serve me. For if you refuse to let them go, and are still holding them, see, the hand of Yahweh is on your livestock in the field, on your horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the cattle, and on the sheep, a very grievous pestilence. And Yahweh shall separate between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Mitzrayim, and let no matter die of all that belongs to the children of Israel. And Yahweh set an appointed time, saying, Tomorrow Yahweh is going to do this word in the land. And Yahweh did the word on the next day. Did this word on the next day, and all the livestock of Mitzrayim died. But of the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. Then Pharaoh sent, and see, not even one of the livestock of Israel was dead. But the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go. And he did not let the people go. Where was I? Verse 8. And Yahweh said to Moshe and Aaron, Fill your hands with ashes from the furnace, and let Moshe scatter it toward the heavens before the eyes of Pharaoh. And it shall become fine dust in all the land of Mitzrayim, and it shall cause boils to break out, in sores on man and beast, in all the land of Mitzrayim. Now, because most of the animals just died, I imagine, and beast would have to do with maybe their cats and dogs or something like that. Just a thought. Because all the livestock was just killed. But anyways. Good morning, Velo. Okay, and sores on man and beast in the land of Mitzrayim. So they took ashes from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moshe scattered them toward the heavens, and they caused boils breaking out in sores on man and beast. And the magicians were unable to stand before Moshe because of the boils, for the boils were on the magicians and on all the Mitzrites. But Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not listen to them, as Yahweh had said to Moshe. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Rise early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say to him, Thus said Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, Let my people go, so that they serve me. For at this time I am sending all my plagues unto your heart, and on your servants, and on your people, so that you know that there is no one like me in all the earth. Excuse me. I sound awful. Good morning, Grafted Branch. I didn't see you in here, but I see Palmetto saying good morning. There you are. Good morning. All right, we're on Exodus chapter 9, verse 15. Now, if I had stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, then you would have been cut off from the earth. And for this reason I have raised you up in order to show you my power, and in order to declare my name in all the earth. You still exalt yourself against my people, in that you do not let them go. See, tomorrow about this time I am causing very heavy hail to rain down, such has not been in Mitzrayim from the day of its founding until now. And now, bring your livestock to safety. Interesting. Livestock seems to have just been killed, but maybe I'm missing something. And now, bring your livestock to safety and all that you have in the field. For the hail shall come down on every man and every beast which is found in the field, and it is not brought home. They shall die. Those among the servants of Pharaoh who feared the word of Yahweh made their servants and livestock flee to the houses. But those who did not set their heart on the word of Yahweh left their servants and livestock in the field. Then Yahweh said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand toward the heavens, and let there be hail in all the land of Mitzrayim. In all the land of Mitzrayim, on man and on beast and on every plant of the field throughout the land of Mitzrayim. Then Moshe stretched out his rod toward the heavens, and Yahweh sent thunder and hail, and fire came down to the earth, and Yahweh rained hail on the land of Mitzrayim. Thus there came to be hail and fire flashing continually in the midst of the hail, very heavy, such has not been in all the land of Mitzrayim since it became a nation. since it became a nation. And the hail struck in all the land of Mitzrayim with all that was in the field. And the hail struck in all the land of Mitzrayim, all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail struck every plant of the field, and broke every tree of the field. Only the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. Pharaoh then sent and called for Moshe and Aaron, and said to them, I have sinned this time. Yahweh is righteous, and my people and I are wrong. Pray to Yahweh, for there has been enough of the thunder and hail of Elohim, and I am letting you go, so that you stay no longer. And Moshe said to him, As soon as I go out of the city, let me spread out my hands to Yahweh. Let the thunder cease and the hail be no more, so that you know that the earth belongs to Yahweh. But as for you and your servants, I know that you do not yet fear before Yahweh Elohim. And the flax and the barley were struck, and the barley was in the head, and the flax was in the bud. But the wheat and the spelt were not struck, for they were late crops. And Moshe went out of the city from Pharaoh, and spread out his hands to Yahweh. And the thunder and the hail ceased, and the rain was not poured on the earth. And Pharaoh saw the rain, and the hail, and the thunder had ceased. Yet he sinned again, and hardened his heart, he and his servants. And the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened, and he did not let the children of Israel go, as Yahweh had said through Moshe. All right, we're on chapter 10. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to clear up my face so I can breathe. Alright, interestingly enough, when I stand up, I can breathe a lot better. So, I'm going to see if I can stand us up a little bit. A little Palmetto Paratrooper hot sauce will clear that right up. That's true. I don't have any right now. I need to get some more hot sauce. I do got some pretty awesome hot pepper sauce that I got from Papa Pepper. Or it's not sauce, it's sorry, hold on. My mic's way up there. It's gonna be just a second. Alright. See if I can make myself a little standing operation here. There we go. I'll go ahead and just stand up, and I'll be able to breathe. Oh, the sriracha. Well, yeah, I'll be happy to pay for it. So, you want to send that bottle to me, and just send me an invoice on PayPal or something, and I'll pay it for the hot sauce. That'd be awesome. All right, there we go. Thanks for your patience, guys. I can breathe a little bit better standing up. Moose Run coffee. It's the only way to start my day. All right, chapter 10. Can you hear me all right? I think we're just gonna have to run this. There we go. All right, chapter 10. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his servants, so that I show these signs of mine before him, and that you relate in the hearing of your son and your son's son what I have done in Mitzrayim, and my signs which I have done among them. And you shall know that I am Yahweh. And Moshe and Aaron came in to Pharaoh and said to him, Thus said Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, Till when shall you refuse to humble yourselves before me? Let my people go, so that they serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I am bringing locusts within your borders, and they shall cover the surface of the land, so that no one is able to see the land. And they shall eat the rest of what has escaped, which remains to you from the hail, and they shall eat every tree which grows up for you out of the field. And they shall fill your houses, and the houses of your servants, and the houses of all the Mitzrites, which neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were on the earth to this day. Jeez. Sorry, guys. To this day. Then he turned and went out from Pharaoh, and Pharaoh's servants said to him, Till when would this one be a snare to us? Let the men go, so that they serve Yahweh their Elohim. Do you not know that Mitzrayim is destroyed? And Moshe and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go, serve Yahweh your Elohim, who are the ones Go serve Yahweh your Elohim. Who are the ones that are going? And Moshe said, We're going with our young and our old, and our sons and our daughters, and our flocks and our herds. We are going. For we have a festival to Yahweh. And he said to them, Let Yahweh be with you as I let you and your little ones go. Watch for evil is before your face. Not so. You men go now and serve Yahweh, for that is what you desire. And they were driven out from the presence of Pharaoh. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand over the land of Mitzrayim, for the locusts to come upon the land of Mitzrayim, and eat up every plant of the land, all that the hail has left. And Moshe stretched out his rod over the land of Mitzrayim, and Yahweh brought an east wind on the land all that day and all that night. Morning came, and the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Mitzrayim, and settled within all the borders of Mitzrayim, very grievous. There had never been locusts like them before, nor would there again be like them. And they covered the surface of all the land, so that the land was darkened. And they ate every plant of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And no greenness was left in the in the trees or on the plants of the field, in all the land of Mitzrayim. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aaron in haste, and said, I have sinned against Yahweh your Elohim, and against you. And now please forgive my sin only this once, and pray to Yahweh your Elohim, that he would only turn away this death from me. And he went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh, and Yahweh turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the Sea of Reeds. Not one locust was left within all the borders of Mitzrayim. I think it's interesting that it's not just the signs that he did, the plagues, but I think how also he got rid of them, like in a snap, like on command, that also proved how in control he was of the situations. Verse 18, and he went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh, and Yahweh turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the Sea of Reeds. Not one locust was left within all the borders of Mitzrayim. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand toward the heaven, and let there be darkness over the land of Mitzrayim, even a darkness which is felt. And Moshe stretched out his hand toward the heaven, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Mitzrayim for 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days, while all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called to Moshe and said, Go, serve Yahweh, only leave your flocks and your herds behind. Let your little ones go with you too. But Moshe said, You yourself are to provide us with slaughterings and ascending offerings, to prepare for Yahweh our Elohim. And our livestock are to go with us too. Not a hoof is to be left behind. For we have to take some of them, so we have to take some of them to serve Yahweh our Elohim, and ourselves do not know with what we are to serve Yahweh until we come there. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh and would not let him go. And Pharaoh said to him, Get away from me, watch yourselves and see my face no more. For in the day you see my face, you die. And Moshe said, You have spoken rightly. Never again do I see your face. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Brent Pavey, shalom. Nathan, shalom, brother. Tenacious Tortoise, what's up, guys? Alright, we're in chapter 11 of the book of Exodus. And Yahweh said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mitzrayim. After that, he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and objects of gold. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, and the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. Excuse me. And Moshe said, Thus said Yahweh, About midnight I am going out into the midst of Mitzrayim, and all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on the throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, such as has never been or ever shall be again. Excuse me. But against any of the children of Israel, no dog shall move its tongue, against man or against beast, so that you know that Yahweh makes distinction between Mitzrayim and Israel. And all the servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, Get out you from all the people that at your feet. And after that I shall go out, and he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. Chapter 12. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, This new moon is the beginning of new moons for you. It is the first new moon of the year for you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the beings. According to each man's need, you make your count for the lamb. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year old. Take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it from the 14th day of the same new moon. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between the evenings, and they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted with fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted with fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. And do not leave of it until morning. And what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. And this is how you eat it: your loins girded, and your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesach, the Passover of Yahweh. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast. And on all the mighty ones of Mitzrayim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahweh. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you. Obviously, awesome symbolism of our Messiah. Shout out Messiah and the Moedim. That's pretty cool. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you, when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yahweh throughout your generations. Celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law, one that doesn't go away. Travis Bolt, shalom, brother. All right, verse 15. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. So it's telling you a little more details on how to keep Passover. Passover kicks off unleavened bread. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. No leaven. For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. And on the first day is a set-apart gathering. And on the 7th day you have a set-apart gathering. No work at all is done on them. Only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared by you. No work except you can cook that meal. Verse 17, and you shall guard the festival of Matzot. That's Matzot. I believe that's unleavened bread. For on the same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mitzrayim, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. In the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon, and in the evening you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your house, for if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Stating that twice. Whether sojourner or native in the land. Interesting. Saying straight up right there, it's saying this isn't about your bloodline. This is if you're Israel. Okay, whether you're a sojourner or native born. Verse 20. Do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings you are to eat unleavened bread. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go out and take lambs for yourselves according to your clans, and slay the Passover. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And you, none of you, shall go out of the door of this house until morning. And Yahweh shall pass on to smite the Mitzrites, and shall see the blood on the lintel and on the two doorposts. And Yahweh shall pass over the door and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. Is that rooster really going to stand there? Verse 24. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever. And it shall be, when you come to the land which Yahweh gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. And it shall be, when your children say to you, what does this service mean to you? Then you shall say, it is the Passover slaughtering of Yahweh, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrites and delivered the households. And the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. Hold on, I'm going to let my dogs outside so they can chase those chickens off. Verse 28. Come on, Zeke. Come on. Zeke, come. DJ, come. Outside. Come on. Outside. Go. Stand on my porch. Go. Outside. You didn't do your job. Well, that didn't work as I hoped it would. The dogs just ran the other direction. Verse 28. And the children of Israel went away and did so. So he just told them how to put the blood on the doorposts. And the children of Israel went away and did so, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be at midnight that Yahweh struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Mitzrites, and there was a great cry in Mitzrayim, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night and said, Arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go, serve Yahweh as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go. Then you shall bless me too. And the Mitzrites were strong on the people to hasten them away out of the land, for they said, we are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe, and they had asked from the Mitzrites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments, and Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzrites. Boom. Move this a little bit. Whoa. Knocking it over now. Sorry, guys. Super pro setup here. Okay. That should that should stand. little drink of water. Okay. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzrites. Excuse me. And the children of Israel set out from Ramesses to Sukkot, about 600,000 men on foot, beside the little ones. And a mixed multitude went up with them, also flocks and herds, very much livestock. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought out of Mitzrayim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mitzrayim, and had not been able to delay, nor had they prepared food for themselves. And the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Mitzrayim was 430 years. And it came to be, at the end of the 430 years, on that same day it came to be, that all the divisions of Yahweh went out from the land of Mitzrayim. It is a night of watches unto Yahweh for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim. This is that night of watches unto Yahweh for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. And Yahweh said to Moshe and Aaron, This is the law of the Pesach. No son of a foreigner is to eat of it, but any servant a man has bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, then let him eat of it. A settler and a hired servant does not eat of it. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside the door, nor are you to break any bone of it. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And when a sojourner sojourns with you, and shall perform the Pesach to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and perform it. And he shall be as a native of the land, but let no uncircumcised eat of it. There is one Torah for the native born, and for the sojourner who sojourns among you. And all the children of Israel did as Yahweh commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be on that same day that Yahweh brought the children of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim according to their divisions. Chapter 13. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Set apart to me all the firstborn, the one opening the womb among the children of Israel, among man and among beast. It is mine. And Moshe said to the people, Remember this day in which you went out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. For by strength of hand Yahweh brought you out of this place, and whatever is leavened shall not be eaten. Today you are going out in the new moon Abib. It shall be, when Yahweh brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this new moon. 7 days you eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day is a festival to Yahweh. Unleavened bread is to be eaten the 7 days, and whatever is leavened is not to be seen with you. And leaven is not to be seen with you within all your borders. And you shall inform your sons in that day, saying, It is because of what Yahweh did for me when I came up from Mitzrayim. And it shall be a sign to you on your hand, and a reminder between your eyes, that the Torah of Yahweh is to be in your mouth, for with a strong hand Yahweh has brought you out of Mitzrayim. And you shall guard his law at its appointed time from year to year. And we might not have lived in Egypt ourselves, but he has certainly brought us out of spiritual Egypt. And that's what it means, come out of her, my people, right? We're coming out of spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 11, And it shall be, when Yahweh brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall give over to Yahweh every one opening the womb, and every firstborn that comes from your livestock. The males belong to Yahweh. But every firstborn of a donkey you are to ransom with a lamb. And if you do not ransom it, then you shall break its neck. And every firstborn of man among your sons you are to ransom. And it shall be when your son asks in time to come, saying, What is this? Then you shall say to him, By strength of hand Yahweh brought us out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. And it came to be, when Pharaoh was too hardened to let us go, that Yahweh killed every firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Before I am slaughtering to Yahweh every male that opens the womb. Therefore I am slaughtering to Yahweh every male that opens the womb. But every firstborn of my sons I ransom. And it shall be as a sign in your hand and as frontlets between your eyes. For by strength of hand Yahweh brought us out of Mitzrayim. Pause real quick. Gotta let the dog back in. Verse 17. Sorry, guys. You chase him off. Chase that chicken off. Verse 17. GR Cleve, Brenda Prince, shalom, you guys. All right, we're on verse 17 of chapter 13 in the book of Exodus. And it came to be when Pharaoh had... Oh, my feet hurt. And it came to be when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Elohim did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, though that was nearer. For Elohim said, lest the people regret when they see fighting and return to Mitzrayim. So Elohim led the people around by way of the wilderness of the Sea of Reeds, and the children of Israel went up in fives from the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he certainly made the children of Israel swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring my bones from here with you. And they departed from Sukkot and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And Yahweh went before them by day in a column of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a column of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. The column of cloud did not cease by day, nor the column of fire by night before the people. Chapter 14. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel that they turn and camp before Pihahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal Zephon. Camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh shall say of the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land, the wilderness has closed them in. And I shall strengthen the heart of Pharaoh, and he shall pursue them. But I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over all his army, and the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yahweh. And they did so. And it was reported to the sovereign of Mitzrayim that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have you done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So they made his chariot ready, and took his people with him. And he took 600 choice chariots, and all the chariots of Mitzrayim, with officers over them, over all of them. And Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and he pursued the children of Israel. But the children of Israel went out defiantly. And the Mitzrites pursued them, and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them, camping by the sea besides Pi-hahiroth, before Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes and saw the Mitzrites coming up after them. And they were greatly afraid, so the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh, and they said to Moshe, "Did you take us away to die in the wilderness, because there was no burial sites in Egypt? What is this that you have done to us to bring us up out of Egypt? Is it not the word that we spoke to you in Mitzrayim, saying, 'Leave us alone, and let us serve the Mitzrites'? For it would have been better for us to serve the Mitzrites than to die in the wilderness." What's up, buddy?
I'm hungry.
Okay, I'll make breakfast. I'm going to finish this chapter, and then we'll eat.
Well, Mom, make something.
Okay, well, let me finish reading.
Okay, but can I be in here?
Yeah, quietly. Verse 13. And Moshe said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the deliverance of Yahweh, which he does for you today. For the Mitzrites whom you see today, you are never to see again. Yahweh does fight for you, and you keep silent." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Why do you cry to me? Speak to the children of Israel and let them go forward. And you lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and let the children of Israel go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I strengthen the heart of the Mitzrites, and they shall follow them, and I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh and all his army, his chariots and his horsemen. And the Mitzrites shall know that I am Yahweh when I am esteemed through Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen." And the messenger of Elohim who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them, and the column of cloud went from before them and stood behind them, and came between the camp of the Mitzrites and the camp of Israel. And it was the cloud and the darkness, and it gave light by night, and the one did not come near the other all the night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all the night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Mitzrites pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to be in the morning watch that Yahweh looked down upon the armies of the Mitzrites through the column of fire and cloud, and he brought the army of the Mitzrites into confusion. And he took off the chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Mitzrites said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yahweh fights for them against the Mitzrites." Then Yahweh said to Moshe, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, and let the waters come back upon the Mitzrites, on their chariots and on their horsemen." And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its usual flow at the break of day, with the Mitzrites fleeing into it. Thus Yahweh overthrew the Mitzrites in the midst of the sea, and the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them, and not even one was left of them. And the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. Thus Yahweh saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Mitzrites. And Israel saw the Mitzrites dead on the seashore. And Israel saw the great work which Yahweh had done in Mitzrayim, and the people feared Yahweh and believed Yahweh and served and his servant Moshe. And that's where we're going to stop today, guys. What an exciting story. What an amazing piece of history. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Ron Wyatt, but check it out. Not Ron White, the comedian, but Ron Wyatt. He was an anesthesiologist who saved his money and went over to Israel multiple times doing expeditions and looking for historical sites, biblical sites. And he found golden chariot wheels at the bottom of the sea where they crossed. And there was also, at that time, a pillar, a column on both sides of the water with writing on it, Hebrew writing. And it said, you know, it had like the history of what happened. But Ron Wyatt, check him out. He's got amazing discoveries. He's passed now, but he also found Noah's Ark and in the mountains of Ararat, just like described in the Bible. Yeah, it's amazing. Ron Wyatt is, you know, he's a modern day Indiana Jones / like Moses, and very humble guy. What's up?
And we went in Noah's Ark.
We went in Noah's Ark, yeah, in Kentucky. We went in the Ark Encounter. That was fun.
I still wish you were there.
But you need to stay off camera. You get clothes on. All right, guys. Love you. Personal question. Sorry, J.R. Grieve. Personal question. Your maple syrup connection, by chance, Nathan and Amanda? I did get my maple syrup from a Nathan. But I'm not sure that he has a counterpart. So I'm going to say not Nathan and Amanda. Don't.
Is it okay if I have a peanut butter cup?
No. But you know, just wait for me to get off here, okay? All right. Nathan P. Nope, not Nathan P. It's Nathan B. But yeah, bless you guys. My grandfather climbed Mount Ararat 3 times looking for. Got to listen to my sons listen with my sons this morning. Boldly driven day. Bless you, Grafted Branch Homestead. This is very top heavy, so I'm trying to hold it. Learning the way, and said also the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, and I believe that personally. So I do believe his findings were legitimate. I don't think he lied about any of them. He was a man that feared the Most High, and he maintained that his discoveries were legitimate all the way to his deathbed. I have no reason to question what he discovered. I believe legitimately all of the things he claims to have found. Check out Ron Wyatt. I know that they're fantastic stories, but I mean, we believe in a book full of fantastic stories, but they're true. And the God of the Bible, the Elohim, the Most High, is real. And because these things really happened, there's no reason that we wouldn't be able to find evidence of them. I mean, Ron Wyatt's the one that discovered the balls of sulfur where the melted city of Sodom and Gomorrah are today. I mean, just an incredible amount. I really believe that the Father had a lot of favor on Ron Wyatt. He was also a Seventh-day Sabbath keeper. He wasn't a Seventh-day Adventist, but because at that time there wasn't like a Hebrew roots movement thing going on. He was kind of, I think, just like me when I first coming into Torah. I would attend Seventh-day churches because there wasn't anything going on. I didn't know about any Torah fellowship stuff. I actually thought that I was like the only person doing this. when I came into it, which hasn't been that long, probably going on about 6 years now. But anyways, check out Ron Wyatt. I think you'll be entertained, if not edified greatly. But I love you guys. Hope you have an awesome day. We will catch you in another video soon. Shalom. Hey, bless you, Moose Run. Love you guys. Bethany, shalom. All right, see you guys. All my favorite people are in here. All right. Take care.